And we saw Madame Rajavi speaking a short while ago, those who were here for the film, and once again she spoke with clarity and with very iconic figure that she is, strongly, and her points she made are absolutely relevant to what we're seeing in Iran today. Certainly, I'm on top of what I've observed as an observer and participant. It's astonishing the way that what is happening in Iran under the Iranian regime is not getting the level of publicity and condemnation that it should be getting. And I've just been appalled, like many, to hear the accounts of the awful discrimination against women in Iran and the acid attacks. I mean, the publicity about these should be out there all the time, and it's not. So that's one of my themes, that I will do all I can to say to people who've got the ability to get attention given to the situation in Iran. And I have great respect for Madame Rajavi, and it's really very encouraging that she's the leader of the movement against what's happening in Iran as a woman, and also as a very thinking, independent person.
Until then, I would like to take this opportunity to say a few words directly to the brave people of Iran, especially the youth, students and women in that country. We can only imagine the tall wall of suppression which the mullahs have raised before you. But rest assured that there are many people in the House of Commons and House of Lords that are with you, stand with you and support your legitimate demands. So we do urge you to continue to stand up and persist for your fundamental rights, continue to make your voices heard and continue to protest. We will be with you and help you break through the wall of suppression so you can one day enjoy the rights that you are entitled to under mistype, under the international law and universal Declaration of Human Rights. With that said, just final words about Camp Liberty. Obviously, we now have a new Prime Minister in Iraq, and our committee have written to the Prime Minister declaring that we are ready to assist him in any way we can to take urgent measures to secure the protection and safety of the residents of Camp Liberty. I've also sponsored, as I've said already, an early day motion on the plight of Camp Liberty residents, in which we reiterate that the rejection of Iran's intervention by the new Iraqi government is vital for the promotion of democracy in that country, and that a good indication of this is the way it treats Ashraf residents now at Camp Liberty near Baghdad. We also urge the new government of Iraq to lift the current inhumane siege on the camp, recognising this camp as a UN refugee camp and guarantee the safety, security and rights of its residents.
I was delighted to be able to get my colleagues on the Council of Europe to accept a proposition that I put forward. But the statement is one thing. The fact that 47 countries represented in the Council of Europe and their representatives were so concerned about what was happening, they were prepared to yet again support this motion, that we can shout loud, but nobody's listening where it really matters, and that's in government. And that's why it's so important that your campaign and your alertness to bring home these issues to politicians across the world is so important.
Well, I show up, and I do more than that, because there are 160,000 or more of me standing here. I represent the whole of the solicitor's profession. In 2011, the Council of the Law Society passed a motion deploring what was happening then in Camp Ashraf, and indeed demanding that government should take action. We have regular Human Rights Committee meetings. This issue is a standard agenda item. To those who say that it makes no difference. But vigilance must be with us always, perseverance, and a belief that the cause is so right that eventually there will be the outcome that we strive for. Thank you very much.
I have to say I'm very grateful to all members of Parliament. I think the crimes are so clear, knowing the nature of this very brutal, fanatic fundamentalist regime that some 35 years ago was the first so-called Islamic state to be established. And the horrors they created, which nowadays you see about ISIS and their criminal, murderous attacks against civilians and all sorts of people in Iraq, it was many, many years ago practiced by this terrible, brutal, repressive regime ruling Iran. I think the recent brutal acid attacks against women, which total up to be 50% of Iran's population, is an indication on one hand the true nature of the mullahs and their fanaticism and their abuse and misuse of Islam and religion. We don't want to give them the time to obtain the nuclear bomb and then do the crisis they've been imposing against Iranians, now against Iraqis, Syrians, people in Yemen, other places in the region in the name of Islam. We don't want them to be left with the chaos, with the terror, with sectarian war, with the hatred amongst them of Muslims fighting one another or fighting against the West or fighting against the Christians. That is not the issue. The issue is humanity, democracy, women's rights is equal to human rights. We cannot be silent in the face of such repression. The mullahs are the most terrified of them because they are the solution. They know how ideologically, in addition to militaristically and politically, challenge the mullahs. We need their hands to be cut off from meddling into the affairs of Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and the Middle East, because all they do is just to export hate, terror, chaos, and just destruction. That needs to be stopped, and we could do it together. Thanks very much.